Hello everyone and welcome to my eFootball Dream Team guide. Today we're talking around form arrows and form in general within the Dream Team in eFootball. Player form and Konami's weekly live condition rating are two important things to take into consideration when deciding which players to use before a game. In a nutshell, these two factors help determine the colour of the arrows that the players have in the display in the team section before a game. If they have the up arrow, blue being the best form of colour, they get boosted attributes. If the arrow is down, red being the worst form of colour, they'll perform pretty poorly. The big conclusion is that you have many quality players in your squad. You should use as many A condition players as possible. This does also add a bit of variety to the teams you face week in, week out, because different players will have different conditions and different form, and therefore it gives a bit of variety. You're not playing the same people every week. If every player is in C condition that week, you should go for the more versatile players that have high form attributes. This should display a normal yellow arrow more often through games in that week. But let's go into a little bit more detail about the live condition rating and the form. So condition rating is usually updated weekly, pretty much a Thursday in the UK or in Singapore if you're the same as me. Assuming you're in the middle of a football season, it's unknown at the moment if Konami are going to be updating ratings based on international fixtures or tournaments like the World Cup. If your players have good week in real life, they'll witness a form upgrade in Dream Team, as well as via the condition rating you can find on websites. This generally only applies to matches that have occurred over a weekend. Condition rating has 5 variants, A, B, C, D and E. And a player who scores a hat-trick is pretty much guaranteed to be in A condition for that week, whereas someone who gets sent off likely to be in the D or the E condition. Players in the condition rating of A will very likely have the up arrow for pretty much every match and game they play every time you pick them. In any event, one thing's for sure, it simply means your players will perform better than usual if they're playing with the up blue arrow. If a player is injured in real life, he'll be in a condition rating of C until he gets back on the pitch. Sometimes Konami will give them a D rating in that week after the match if they got injured in that weekend. If you notice your player is in a D or E condition, you should try and avoid picking him. He's likely to have his arrow down for most games and therefore result in poor performances. The condition rating of C is the default state, and one that most players will usually be in. If the competitions are paused, C conditions will apply to all the players. Legends are the exception and are always rated B, as shown by Mr. Beckham. There is one more element that you should also keep an eye on. This is the form description for each player. This is independent from what has been mentioned previously, and to know your player's form value, you can check it on your player's page. It's best to see this as a consistency matrix. Unwavering form is the best a player can have and will result in an arrow more likely to match their live condition rating. Someone on an A rating with unwavering form will be incredibly likely to have a top form up blue arrow consistently across games in that week. Whilst inconsistent players are more unpredictable, they are more likely to have an arrow that's up or down and are less likely to stay on the yellow arrow and show more fluctuations between matches. In general, a good rule of thumb is this. The letters indicate a player's condition and form. Players assigned the letter A or B will be fitter, sharper and have increased match stats. On the other hand, players with D and E will be sluggish, get tired quicker, will make mistakes on a more frequent basis. And players with D and E ratings, they should be avoided. Where possible, use any other option. And that will bring an end to this very quick guide around the live condition rating and the form of players within eFootball. If you haven't already, go check out my Dream Team series and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.